All right. Welcome to welcome to the YouTube interviews. The effects of the COVID-19 on the arts and beyond. Today, my name is Brian Murphy. Hi. Today we have a very special guest. She's a passionate person. She loves dancing. She loves her family. She loves small businesses. She's a beautiful dancer. Stephanie Saltz.
Hi,
Hi.
Brian.
How's it going? So, the situation with this whole COVID-19 virus thing has created an interesting mindset of how we look at business. Because now we're like all looking at screens, and small businesses either can have an opportunity, they can thrive, they can get creative, do things they've never done before. Let's talk about maybe some of the things you've done and how you feel about all that.
Yeah. So my husband and I live in a really small town. So Dylan and I have we have lots of business ideas. So we pay attention to that, and we also pay attention to our own ideas, but we also pay attention to other people's ideas in our town. And we've just been noticing how there's like good and bad that's coming out of this, but like some of the good is like the push for creativity, and the push for just like figuring out how to make it work, and just doing things that you never would have thought of, or maybe doing things that you've always thought of and never had the opportunity. And so now like a lot of people are taking those opportunities. And so we've noticed, we were just talking about this bakery in our town that is selling, they're selling like gift boxes for hospital workers. And they're like $10, and like, it's like one of those things that you're like, why weren't we doing this all along or something, and there's a cafe in our town that they've kind of like transformed this taco truck into the cafe is called the Midnight Rooster, and they're calling the taco truck now the Rolling Rooster. And I'm like, that's great. Like, they can use the Rolling Rooster. They could have multiple locations after this, and especially on their like busy days. So I feel really happy for them, because I feel like they're figuring out like how to kind of move with such a fluid situation. For me, like, I've been teaching online beginner dance classes, and it's been really great. Like, I've had the idea to teach dance online ever since I had a baby, and I felt stuck at home, and I wanted to connect. And I like kind of was in conversation with a few other new moms, and just people who I knew like kind of couldn't leave their house very often. So I'd been thinking on it, and then it finally like,
That's fine. It finally came. You know what? It finally came in. Like, your brain you were able to do it. Like like the time came up. It was like, it's almost like you're ready. It's like you even if you weren't ready, you were ready to do it.
And I've felt like more connected lately than before, than like this whole like past couple of years, honestly, because I've been a stay-at-home mom, and now I've been able to connect with a ton of old dance friends. I also teach an advanced intermediate class on Wednesdays, and it's basically a bunch of my old colleagues. We're just all getting together. It's like reunion, and now we're teachers, and we used to be students, and we're still learning, and we're just so nerdy, and I feel like we're getting so much life from this weird opportunity to just like spend time together again, even if it's like, we're all in different places, and several of us have babies now. And so yeah, those are some of the good things that we've seen come out of it. I feel like there's also something that I want to like mention
Please do.
because I don't think it's being said enough, is just like the chance for people to stop producing. You don't have to produce. You don't have to come up with a great idea. You can rest. Like, you can stop if you need to. My husband, Dylan, like, He's been hustling for a really long time. He's been a professional musician, and then he moved to New York. And everybody who knows anything about New York knows that you have to hustle. And we moved to our small town in South Carolina almost 2 years ago now. And he's been taking a break, and I feel like he struggles with feeling like, what's wrong with me? Why am I not feeling so motivated to keep doing stuff? He's so tired. And I feel like I've had multiple conversations and talked about, like, even just like when dancers take breaks, because I feel like a lot of my friends that are my age have taken a few years off now. But we're still like even the people that I'm doing the advanced class with on Wednesdays, like, we've all taken some time off, and some of it by choice and some of it maybe by not by choice. But there's something really healthy about pausing and letting yourself play some video games. Like, because especially if you've had like a super hustly lifestyle and you've had like, it's okay to not prove anything to anyone and to not start something new, but to just rest. I feel like that's just not being said enough. And there's a lot of like pressure to become something. And I don't think that's always like the healthiest thing to do. I think there's a time to be creative, and I think there's a time to rest. And it's like, the winter, and everybody needs to pay attention to what season they're in, throughout this.
Interesting, because you can argue that it's a feeling of urgency for some reason. Maybe is it a made up urgency? Is it something that we feel like we need, oh my God, blah, 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 or is it something that was already there and we just are because we're in these boxes now that we just feel it internally on ourselves?
It reminds me of like other conversations I've had with Dylan, because as I mentioned that he's been like a touring musician, and he hasn't written a song in a while, and he talks about that. And sometimes people who haven't talked to him in a bit, they'll be like, hey, what are you doing with music? And it's like almost like a weird thing, because he's like, it almost makes him feel, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't speak for him, but I think maybe it makes him feel like he's not doing enough, or that he should be, or like he feels guilty that he doesn't want to write songs right now or something. And I think there's something kind of, he knows, like, it's a complicated thing. Like he knows in his head, like it's okay if he hasn't written a song, but something we've talked about, I remember telling him this a long time ago, and I think it's something that he knows, but it's like, you're always writing a song. Like, living your life is like, you're gonna have something to say after this, like we're always processing. And that's what like art is a product of a process, right? So maybe you're processing something right now, and maybe you're ready to start trying it, or maybe you need more time to process it. It's okay if a piece of art takes like 20 years to make, so yeah, don't get swept up in the hustle. That's my advice, because I was asked for it. But don't get swept up in this like virtual hustle. Do it if you really want to. And I think you'll know if you really want to, because you'll have energy for it. And if you don't have energy for it, you probably don't want to, and you probably shouldn't try it right now. That's my advice.
I think, well said, because I think that we're all probably sitting and listening to this here, and we're looking at kind of analyzing our life before this. And a lot of the people I've talked to have said that I was really busy all the way up till boom, that moment. Mm-hmm. How do you stop a train at a dead stop?
Yeah, some people are thrown from their train car, right?
I mean, it's still rolling. Do you roll it slowly, or do you crash into something and then just kaboom? I think what's happened is that people did that. There's a kind of reinventing themselves after a few weeks of this.
Yeah.
And then people are going to start rolling again, a little different rolling. But
Yeah.
But to your point, though, is why do you want to go back to what it was before, in the sense of the racing, when you could actually almost create your own speed?
Yeah. There is a really good article. I'm going to send it to you so that you can maybe link it below.
Yes.
I don't know exactly if it's, I don't know what side it's on, politically, but I think it's something worth looking at no matter what side you're on, because it's basically like warning. It's like the prepare for the ultimate gaslighting, and it's written on the medium.com. It's from that website. And I didn't know what gaslighting meant, but I looked it up, and it means gaslighting it's basically when you're being pushed to question your own sanity. The article is kind of long, but it's like super beautiful, and it made me cry because it was just like talking about like big companies and like the government maybe. I don't know. This is where it might get kind of political, but they're going to be mindful that they don't try to push you into thinking that everything is normal again. Like, because we have this opportunity here that what do we want to be normal? Do we want to go back to that hustle life? It's basically what you're saying, but it goes really in depth. And I do think it's like something to watch out for, like advertisements saying like, you just need this new skirt to get back out and feel confident, and do you need it? What do you need for confidence? Just question a lot of the messages that are coming to you. That's basically the gist. I don't know, it's the gist of it, but I'll try to link it to you so that you can post it below this or something.
It's kind of like we have to be our own leader.
Yeah. Oh, that was another part of the article. Like,
yes.
You have to practice. Like, it's gonna take real effort to not forget what this was like. I think that's what I really wanted to talk about. It's gonna take concentration and focus to not forget, like, how we got here and what it was like when we were here.
We are, by human nature, kind of we move ahead. We do forget. We'll go back to the same, and then whatever happens. So I think that having your own mind, we can think for ourselves. We can make choices now that nothing's pushing us to do anything. We can do it ourselves. And I think that's really important message. Really important message, Stephanie.
I think you said it, like, it's just recognizing when we're making choices and like recognizing that our choices are like the appearance of our discipline, like how disciplined are we? Well, it shows up in all of our choices.
If you think about it, this conversation went from what we were, what we are now, and what the future is going to look like within a 10-minute period. Interesting. If you think about it, what we were, we are going to want to think that we want to go back to what we were, whatever that was. Mm-hmm. We need to embrace what's going on now. And just like you said earlier, just sort of like, it's okay. Play a video game. Seriously, right? It's just right?
I tell Dylan, I'm like, enjoy your games right now. You've been living such a busy life, and we have a 1-year-old. Like, enjoy your free time right now. You don't have to.
But the thing is, if his free time is to write songs or be into that, whatever it is, that's his time. But if he feels that he's not utilizing his time efficiently, then that's a conversation he has to have with himself. Any artist, not just him, but any artist. Because I love this. This is, to me, I love this time.
Mm-hmm.
If I didn't like it, I wouldn't be sitting here doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You love your time on teaching your friends and your people.
Mm-hmm.
You enjoy it. You could, right?
Yeah.
So the question. Mm-hmm.
I think like it's just, again, going back to paying attention to what gives you life, what do you have energy for, and it's funny, I kind of keep talking about this video games, and Dylan's laughs too that he wants to keep talking about video games, but like even a video game has it's an exploring of an artist's mind, and like all the wit that goes into a video game, so I don't know, I mean, yeah, there's a time, like I've been telling my students, because they're in school, my university students, like, now is not the time to let yourself relax or think it doesn't matter how hard I work right now, because you never know what opportunity is waiting for you on the other side of this, and you have to be ready. And you could even have a head start if you are diligent with your time now. So it's like, you have to pay attention to where you are in what you're working on.
Uh-huh.
Like if you're a student, that's my message for students right now. Like, don't give in right now. This is the really hard part, because we don't quite see the light at the end of the tunnel. But this is where we have to dig our heels in and like freaking work as hard as we possibly can and take advantage of this like alone time to be bored and to figure out what matters to us, like this is our time to figure that out. And we can come back stronger. We can go back to the dance studio stronger. We can come back with more intelligence and more strength, more physical strength. I believe that too.
That's a good way to finish this. I think that's very pertinent to understand that we are going to come back stronger. We are going to. It's not if. It's only if we decide not to. I guess that's a decision the person can make. But we are going to come back stronger as a community and as a society. We're going to come back stronger. Stephanie, this conversation, I want to revisit this in a couple months. We're going to revisit this conversation. Very passionate. It has a deep feel to it. It has a perspective that we all are going to be thinking about. And thank you for sharing that, Stephanie. Appreciate it. So, thank you, Stephanie. I don't know if you can see me, but I appreciate your time, and we'll talk soon. Okay, technology, right? Okay, bye-bye.